When you think of molestation, you usually think of a grown man molesting a child, forcibly and all of that. That's the normal social image of a molester. But more often than not, I know in my life, there was a lot of molesting going on. I don't feel like I was molested, but if I was, there's a situation where most of my molestation came from women. So like the movie Antoine Fisher. And I'm gonna share some stories with you guys. But a lot of times, like I said, we think of the older male molesting a child, but a lot of times it's it's kids that are just slightly older than you. Like if I'm 7 years old and my cousin is 12, you feel what I'm saying? Adults think that 12-year-old is still a child, so they're thinking of molestation is not really in the forefront of their brain. Now a lot of people say, I'm not leaving my daughters with men when they thinking of them as older men, but a lot of times, stuff happens with people that are their peers as older, but slightly older. Like for example, my last story I told you guys about one of my friends when I was younger named PJ. He had a sister named Nikki. Let me give you a story. I went to PJ's house and we were playing, and Nikki, she was 13. We were probably 6 or 7, maybe 7, 6 or 7. She was 13. And Nikki suggested that we all play hide and seek. She coincidentally made PJ be it. It being the person who finds the people who's hiding. So when PJ was counting, and he was counting 1, 2, 3, counting his way till time to find us, she grabs me. I'm planning on hiding somewhere else. She grabs me and pulls me in the bathroom to hide with her. She locks the door. All the lights are off. All I know is I feel her take my head and push it down. She pushes it down towards this part of her body and rubs my face with her pussy. Okay? At this time, first of all, I don't know the female anatomy at this time. I know boys, you feel what I'm saying? Because I've dealt with boys, and I was a boy. So I didn't understand why she was rubbing my face on her pussy. I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand why she doesn't have a dick. I know she's a girl, but it was so much confusion where I didn't know, you feel what I'm saying? I didn't understand sexual arousal. I didn't know why she was doing this, and it was confusing to me. That it was just real confusing. I'm like, what? When it was over and PJ banged on the door, he knew we were in there. She opened up the door and just walked out, and PJ looked at me and was like, what's wrong? And I didn't say nothing, and I went downstairs, down to my own house, and I didn't tell my mother, but, I went to my own house and, and just left it. I was confused. Then my mother used to have girls babysit me. One was 13. She lived across the street. She would babysit me while my mother would be at work. And what she would do, she would bring her cousins who were my age, who were like 5, 6, and 7, who were my age. She would bring them over, and they would be, and she would put us in sexual positions. Like the girl would be bent over like in doggy style, and I would be behind her, and she would tell us to hump. You feel what I'm saying? And she's the boss. You feel what I'm saying? So she's the one who could tell my mother and get me in trouble. So, I didn't feel like I was being forced to do it, but, she's telling us to do it, so we're going to do it. I don't understand this, And what's funny is that I bent down, and when the girl was bent over and she told me to put my thing in her, not in her, because I wasn't old enough to put for an erection, and none of us was old enough for that. But she had some doo-doo on my piece, my first deal. Disgusting. So it was just funny. I didn't tell my mother about that until years later, and my mother ended up beating the girl up later on, years later. Now, all of these things happened after I had sexual experiences with boys. So I can't say that that's the reason why I went to boys. It wasn't like that. But I had already had sexual experience early on, early arousal, where boys were arousing me. So if these scenarios did anything, it just solidified that I know that I was gay from birth. I knew that I was. I knew that I was attracted to men from birth. It was, these things were more, dealing with females was more confusing, and men just were the more comfortable. But if I was molested, I would have to say I was molested more by women.